Honestly, it is more ladylike to walk gracefully in a pair of running shoes than it is to clomp around in a pair of kitten heels. It's all about the way you carry yourself. It really doesn't have much to do with what you look like, honestly. Alright, hello my beautiful friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I run the blog called Mrs. Midwest. As I always say, if you are new around these parts, thank you for clicking on my face. And to all my returning subscribers and viewers, thank you for joining us, and let's dive into today's topic, which is all about ladylike mannerisms and behaviors. Now, as a commentator rightfully pointed out on a previous ladylike video, being ladylike does have more to do with who you are on the inside than how you are on the outside. But it is, of course, my belief that all ladies have a few traits in common, such as valuing herself, being confident, and caring for others. But the truth is that when you have those traits inside of you, they often manifest in very specific ways in your behavior and mannerisms. So today I'm going to give you some practical tips for how to be more ladylike with your behavior, because of course it is 2019 and a lot of this ladylike behavior has kind of flown out the window. As our society has moved away from that very stuffy, formal Victorian style of living, we now have a much more casual society. And for all the joys and wonders that has brought us, I also think, as I've said before, that lack of formality has caused a bit of confusion for people on how to act professional, formal, ladylike, naturally, because the truth is that humans are naturally quite animalistic in their behaviors. Etiquette and proper, polite behavior does not always come naturally to people without a bit of tutelage. Because of that, I hope to be that tutor for you today, and just know too, it's not immoral or wrong to not be ladylike. It's not even a common standard in our culture anymore. But my channel is a sort of a haven for the modern, feminine, and even traditional woman, and because of that, I know many of you are interested in how to act and behave more ladylike. Let's dive into number one, which is all about the way you carry your body. A lady, of course, carries herself in a way that shows confidence, professionalism, and a little bit of formality. Being a lady does mean stepping away from very casual, childish kind of behavior. The key is going to be adding a little bit more formal, graceful, smooth behavior into the way you carry your body. A lady has a sense of regality around her. You know, that idea of a royal, someone who carries themselves with ultimate grace. And that, of course, starts in the core element of how you carry your body, which is your posture. Now, my first tip for this, I've said it before a few times on my channel, but it is to imagine yourself as if you had a set of butterfly or angel wings on your back. And the key is you're going to want to keep those angel wings upright and not hunched forward. You never want your shoulder blades to be angled like this. You always want them pulled back. Another way to imagine this is by rolling your shoulders back and straightening out your shoulder blades. Also, imagine puffing out your chest just a little bit and imagining, as I learned in dance school as a child, a string from the crown of your head right here pulling upwards, so you just want to elongate your spine. Use posture when you're driving in your car. Set your car seat up a little bit straighter. Sit straighter, and you will notice not only will you feel so much more open, but you will exude that level of regality as I spoke about before. My biggest tip for this, it might sound silly, but it is to record yourself as you do an activity like washing the laundry, doing the dishes, walking around your house, etc. Then watch back the footage and see your posture. I have to tell you that I've always prided myself on good posture, but it wasn't until I began vlogging that I realized sometimes I would lose that posture and I would begin to hunch forward a little bit. So if you want a pro tip for improving your posture, first of all, get a handle on what your posture actually is by recording yourself. And of course, remember too, my ladies with the larger chests, I know it can feel a little uncomfortable to raise your chest up because we don't want to, draw too much attention to that area of our body. But the cool thing about once you start to kind of puff your chest out a little bit, have a better posture, is that the attention actually goes to your neck and face more than your chest, because when you're hiding it, you just kind of look a little insecure. So when you raise up and you have a good smile expression on your face, the attention will go to your face, so don't worry too much about your chest. And of course, I also want to add here, we are feminine women. We have chests. It is nothing to be ashamed of. Now, I don't believe in putting everything on show with the chest, but I don't think that means we need to hide our feminine figures or be ashamed of the way God made the female body. So raise your chest up a little bit, keep your shoulders back, and record yourself as you do an activity. The second tip in the area of carrying your body is when you are sitting, keep your knees together. Now, we've seen examples of this in the Princess Diaries, but there's a lot of reasons for keeping your knees together while you're sitting. First of all, it can really prevent any uncomfortable mishaps of showing your undergarments while you're sitting. It looks more ladylike and it is often more appropriate, especially in a professional setting. Keeping your knees together can, of course, look like clasping your ankles together or just sitting with your legs to the side. When you're sitting on someone else's couch or chair or whatever, try not to crush their furniture by sitting on the arms or crushing their pillows. Be very aware of the furniture you're sitting on, especially when you're a guest in someone else's home. This is a little tip I learned, but always look where you're sitting before you sit down. A nice way to do this is to put your hand down to feel where you're gonna sit and watch it as you go, and then gently sit down and then draw your attention to the person you're speaking with. As you sit down, just remember to keep things smooth. You don't want to clomp down, okay? You want to show that grace, regality, a little bit of a sense of royalty even. In the area of walking, again, like I just said, don't clomp around. Be very mindful of the sounds you're making, be very mindful of your posture, and be mindful of the shoes you are wearing. If you cannot handle the high heel you are wearing, don't wear it. If your shoes are chafing at your feet, don't wear them. Honestly, it is more ladylike to walk gracefully in a pair of running shoes than it is to clomp around in a pair of kitten heels. It's all about the way you carry yourself. It really doesn't have much to do with what you look like, honestly. My next tip for sitting like a lady is, of course, to give your seat up to anyone who needs it. If you see an elderly person or an expectant mother or a disabled person, give them your seat and show courtesy by holding your body in a standing position instead of a sitting position. In total, the way you carry your body if you want to look very ladylike is to just be aware of it. And honestly, I feel like this just takes practice. Not many people are born with that ballerina grace, you know? Many of us have to learn it over time. So don't be hard on yourself if you have to record yourself a lot to really get down the posture. Don't be hard on yourself if you realize you clomp around and no one told you. Just improve today if you so desire. You don't have to. It's just that classic etiquette practice that ladies of old used to have to do. The second area of acting like a lady is kind of odd, but it has to do with bodily hygiene. Now, what I'm getting at here is the idea of keeping a lot of your bodily hygiene private from other people. This is very key to being a lady because it's much more formal. And this does mean don't pick your acne in public. Don't brush your hair in public and then pick it off and let it fly in the wind. Don't scratch your private areas in public, and don't touch your private areas in public, and keep those things private. Just run to the restroom, or at the very least turn away from other people if you need to pick your nose. Use a handkerchief or tissue for anything to do with bodily fluids on your face. Make sure your hands are clean and they don't have dirt under the nails, and make sure that when you go to shake someone's hand, you're not giving them some sort of sickness or disease. Be mindful about other people and what they're comfortable with. It's not about looking perfect per se, it's just about being more formal in everyday life. Make sure your jewelry is tidy and clean, and if you are engaged or married, keep your engagement ring polished and shiny to show your appreciation for the gift that it is to have that ring. Make sure your breath smells fresh by cupping your hands, your face, and giving it a little just to see. If you want to check up on your skin or makeup throughout the day, discreetly pull out a compact mirror or your cell phone camera and check up on things. But don't reapply in the presence of others unless it's just a quick splash of lip gloss or blush. Instead, excuse yourself to reapply whatever concealer, face powder, mascara, whatever you have going on. In general, keep that upkeep maintenance behavior in private. You will never see a royal upgrading her mascara in public. It's just for a level of formality, looking put together and being very regal. Again, ladylike bodily hygiene means that you are not going to want to pick and scratch and pull at yourself in public. You're not going to want to reapply deodorant in public. Keep those things as private as possible and let us all return to a state of more formal elegance in our culture. Third area of acting like a lady has to do with being a good neighbor. One of the greatest commandments in the Bible is to love your neighbor as yourself. And of course, your neighbor doesn't just mean your next door neighbor. It means everyone in this world, including your husband, your family, your community members, and of course, your actual next door neighbor. It's important to be a good citizen and follow the law. Don't litter. Take care of your trash and recycling. Make sure that you're obeying the law when you drive and you're not causing harm, frustration, or damage to other people. This would include drunk driving. Never drive drunk. Not ladylike, but also against the law and immoral on all senses. Being aware of yourself and of the potential damage you are doing to others is number one in being a lady. A lady is not going to be extremely trashy and selfish with her behavior. She's going to put in that extra work, that extra dollar, or that extra whatever she needs to do to make sure she does not damage other people or other people's property. Pick up after yourself, especially if you are visiting other people. Turn out the lights when you are done with a room. And it's important to be a blessing and a positive presence to the people in your lives, including the cashier, the civil servant you deal with at the bureaucratic office. It's important to leave other people in a better state than when you found them. Help elderly people when you see them in public. If they can't reach something at the grocery store, kindly offer them a helping hand. They might turn you down, but at least you offered. Help expectant mothers or people with strollers, especially if you're going down to a Subway and you see someone struggling with a stroller. Take time out of your day to bless others, because that is what a lady does. A lady is not lazy and she is not sloppy, so she's not afraid to put in that extra work to help other people. Make sure that your place of living is a compliment to those around you. Don't hold raucous parties late into the night and disturb your neighbors, but also make sure that you're upkeeping something as simple as your lawn maintenance as best you can in your budget and ability. Bless your neighbors and your neighborhood by keeping things tidy, neat, and cute. You don't want your neighbors to feel sad that they live next to you. Call ahead if you're going to be late to an appointment, a work meeting, or even an appointment with a friend. Make sure that you are putting others' needs high on your priority list so that they know that you are reliable and professional. Don't be overly trusting with strangers and never go anywhere alone with a stranger. Lady is of course aware of her own body so she can walk with grace, but she is also aware of her surroundings so she can stay safe and return to the ones she loves at the end of the day. It is more important to return to your family than it is to help that creepy stranger with the weird package in his van in the parking lot of Walmart, okay? Don't feel overly comfortable, especially in the evening hours. Make sure you are being safe and don't be foolish enough to take a drink from a stranger, go home with a stranger, or get drunk in the presence of strangers. Tragedies and horrible things happen outside of our control, but it is very important that we do everything we can do to stay safe. A lady is aware of her value, and because of that, she values herself enough to not go out and get blackout drunk with a bunch of strangers or go home with a stranger who could assault her or worse. Remember to stay as safe as possible and that a lady is confident enough to say no. Don't let people guilt you into things and always follow your instincts. In general, it's important to realize that a lady carries herself in a way that shows that she values herself and other people and that she's not lazy. So as you move about life, try to notice those areas where you can get a little bit lazy. I think it's worthwhile for everyone to take a look at what's working and what's not. Of course, most or all of these tips can apply to men as well, but because my channel is geared towards women, we are speaking, of course, to the ladies in the feminine family. In total, I hope you know that a lady is made in the heart, and it is the heart that matters first and foremost, but that usually manifests in certain behaviors and of course etiquette tips that you wouldn't know unless someone told you. We are going to be unpacking more things about ladylike attitudes, behaviors, and grooming in the future. So stay tuned for that. But in general, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please click the like button. It does help grow our community. If you haven't yet, consider subscribing to my channel and joining the feminine family. If you're interested, we also have merchandise products below. And if you're interested in more of this content, please follow my written blog. In total, I hope you have a wonderfully blessed and ladylike week, my beautiful sisters.